In recent weeks, we've all been shocked by the revelations of horrific child abuse in Jersey. For us, though, the news sounds sadly familiar because for 6 months we've been speaking to victims of similar crimes here in Portsmouth. This is their story. And I should warn you, you may find some of the details distressing.
Hold it.
Behind the childhood smiles are harsh.
Justice! Justice!
For these campaigners, their protest is as personal as it gets. They claim they were while in the care of the council 50 years ago, and they want their suffering to be officially recognised.
It's difficult to explain what it's like to be a victim of abuse all those years ago.
Justice!
And at 63 age, I'm tired of being an abused victim. I want an end to it.
We want justice! We want justice!
Les Cummings' fight for recognition and compensation has only to find his fellow victims and to try and prove his memories are true.
Children's cottage homes.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1930. Look.
Children's cottage concentration camp.
Yeah.
Tucked away in an upmarket housing estate stands the last survivor of Portsmouth's children's cottage homes.
Yeah.
Here, Les and his friend Ralph lived alongside scores of other orphaned or destitute youngsters.
The dining room was down there.
Yeah. The dining room was...
And there were 2 dormitories in each cottage, weren't there? Look at the... Look at that.
Here they spent much of their childhood, the city's unwanted and unloved. Behind its doors, the regime was brutal.
If they came or beat you, you never cried. But if you cried, they did it again. Because they got you.
No, well, no.
You didn't cry.
No, that was well known. You never did that.
No, no.
Yeah.
Branded a troublemaker, Les was subjected to random outbursts of violence. He wasn't even safe on his birthday.
Some way or another, they thought my birthday was on the 17th. For so many, I used to go out there on the 17th. So I went there on the 17th thinking, oh, it's my birthday, smiling, thinking I'm going to get chocolate. Cummings, it's not your birthday, it was yesterday. It's the 16th. Wallet. Yeah. He whacked me and I went right, it's like this sort of thing, and he whacked me right across there. And I'm laying there thinking, happy birthday.
Yeah.
I mean, happy birthday. Get whacked, that's what I mean. You never knew where it was going to come in.
Les has traced more than 20 other victims, many of whom named as their main abuser, the Deputy Superintendent, Alfred John Bott.
When Janet, one time, my sister, he said to me, hold her hands behind her back.
Yeah.
And I had to hold her hands behind her back. And he punched her in the stomach, a couple of times in the stomach. I'm holding her like that.
Yeah.
And then he went off laughing.
Yeah.
Walked away laughing. He thought it was funny. He always thought that was funny doing that.
Yeah. I went to school with black eyes where he thumped me, and when he caned you, he had a split cane, so it cut your backside when he caned you on the bare backside. If you reported to anybody, you got the cane for reporting it.
Lots of things happened. I mean, beating for a start, and I know it's not just, physical. Shaking, a lot of shaking till your nose bled, made to lay on the stone floor till it stopped. Yeah. Mm.
One day when I'd finished school, and there was a little baby bird laying there. Obviously it had fallen out of a nest or whatever. Well, I, being a young boy, put it in my pocket and took it back, and I was sitting at the table eating it, bits of bread. And Mr. Bott come up, you, whack, what you got in there? He said, right, I'll teach you. So he then went back down the woods, shook the trees till some more birds fell out, come back, just twisted their necks, and he made me eat these firebirds, not even cooked, in front of them as a lesson.
That sounds as bad as it can get, and that's just horrific, isn't it? Les was first care in 1945, aged just 1.5. His mother was a thief, a repeat offender, sent to jail 7 times in 10 years.
My mother defrauded the HM Postmaster General the sum of £3. And it was basically, I think it was a Navy allowance, something to do with the fact that my father wasn't in the Navy anymore, or something like that. And she was sentenced to 6 months in prison then, and she was 5 months pregnant with my brother.
Les always thought he'd been abandoned by his mother, but he's now discovered an old newspaper cutting that shows she was worried about what would happen to him.
She does say, when she's sentenced, she asks, what about him? So at this time, she does show concern about us. And I guess this is the first time I've ever seen anything demonstrative about my mother showing any concern for us, myself and my brothers and my sister. And then that's when we were taken into care.
When the home opened in 1931, it was heralded as a humane improvement on the workhouse. By the time Les arrived, about 30 children were living in 6 cottages, each with its own house mother, supposedly recreating the atmosphere of a caring family.
Yeah, look.
It's Mr. Box, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Mr. Box. Somebody left a poker in the fire. Then he turned round, and we had the short trousers on, I had all these warts on my knee, and he said, I'll get rid of those, and he sat on me, and he burnt them with this red hot poker. Look, still got the scars, look. We burnt them off. Evil pot.
See them, they're just...
Why don't you say that?
Because they used to beat me up, Les. Don't push it in my face, alright?
Yeah.
Don't push that in my face.
Well, how did he do that?
No, beatings, Les.
Yeah.
Like, with fists and things like that. I don't want to talk about that anyway, that one.
Right.
For Les and his sister Janet, there was even worse to come. They were sent to foster homes which they believe were part of an organised paedophile ring. Janet claimed she was regularly taken to a darkened room to be sexually abused by strangers.
Never looked at anyone that would come forward to me. I always had my head that way, and it was always the same side. I'll always quickly turn it that way. And a skinny little girl, like I was, right? You know, you just don't... You don't say nothing because you're so used to it. And you know it hardens you in the end. Look at me today. You can beat it out of me, and there won't be a tear in my eyes.
In 1951, aged 7, Les was fostered in Queen's Road in Cobner. He says that for the next 2.5 years he was beaten and starved, and shut for hours on end, tiny cupboard under the stairs.
And that's my prison, that's my dungeon, under the stairs. Look at that. Oh my God. I spent hours in there. Weekends, sometimes. No food, no water, nothing. You could hear the house. And everything going on in the house, but you were just in there. So all you did was just listening to the house. That's all I had to the house was listen to it. And just the occasional coming along like that, if you made any noises, kicking it and hitting it and telling you to shut up. There's all this wood in you. You used to bite on this wood somewhere. Look at it.
But it was when Les was taken into the front room that the most horrific sexual abuse took place.
Now this room's very... this is where the foster father... he abused me in here. This is the room. Yeah, we closed this door, and I was alone. You know, you can't do anything about it. All you've got to do is just, he's got to do what he wants to do, and there's nothing you can do about it.
But at 17, in a moment of anger, Les did do something about it. He turned to the house to confront his foster father.
I said, "You know I am." And he said, "Yeah." And he said, "You're Leslie Cummings." And I said, "Mr. Cummings." And then I could see the sun in the background, back here. And I just attacked him. And I was just punching and kicking, and there was blood everywhere, and I cut myself and everything else. And then I just ran down the road. I just went. But I'm not saying I'm not saying it made me feel any better, but at least I think it made me feel a man again, because he took away me feeling like I was he took that away. And unless you've been abused like that, you can't understand what it does. But I'll tell you, the biggest courage is coming here today, coming back today. That takes balls. I know some people think, well, how can you do it? Well, it takes balls to come here and do this. And I'm a man, and I don't care what anybody says. Here it is.
While we were filming Les's story, the police began digging for bodies at a children's home.
For a very brief and quick look, we've still got to get lighting and other equipment in there. What we have
Believes
also
their accounts.
we're always confident, and in fact it will be the case, that there will be arrests in this investigation.
The Jersey inquiry has heightened Les's suspicion about the apparent disappearance of some of the children he knew.
2 boys were taken out of the dormitory at night. I was an insomniac and I could never sleep. Maybe 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning. So I know that they came in. All I would like is for an accountability of every child that went in and every child that came out. So we know that nothing bad happened to these children. Any worse than what was happening.
Hampshire police did investigate allegations of child abuse, but they closed the case because Mr. Bott and other staff were dead. They need to review that inquiry. Meanwhile, Portsmouth City Council says it does sympathise with the victims' suffering, but it's still refusing to accept liability for any compensation claim.
I suspect that there might be an issue between apologising for the distress that you're clearly feeling and accepting liability for what exactly. Not sure of the parameters of that. No, but well, all I'm saying is, you know, that clearly there's a
okay. We'll all die. That's what it's about. You lot want us to die and go away.
The anger that you'll live after all these years, and it's still, I'm 63 and I'm still angry. And the anger never goes away. It'll never leave you. At least if they apologise. Just apologise. Just to show it wasn't all a dream, you know. And then we can get on with our lives, what's left of it.